The Legend of Zelda is without a doubt one of the greatest video game series of all time. But in my not-so-humble opinion, Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild are probably the two best in the series. I love Ocarina of Time, I love A Link to the Past, but these two games have absolutely changed what I expect Zelda games to be. I will take it a step further. I'll say that Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild are the best console exclusives and first-party exclusives to have come out in the last 20 years. Maybe of all time. Might be controversial on that one, but I'm going to stick with it. So when I found out that both of these legends were getting upgrades on the Switch 2, I knew that I would beg, borrow, steal people's glass bottles, sell my plasma, my kidneys, feet pics, and the family dog to get my hands on one. Now, as many of you know, the lady and I have a long history of making Zelda content on this channel. Fucking eyeball.
Right there.
Hello.
I'm surprised you got that, because that was kind of in the back a little bit.
Yeah, it counts.
Also, I love how...
What? Mistakes for me!
Rotate!
Whoops! I'm good. I'm alive. I don't know how. Mistakes were made. Mistakes were made. This is so stupid, but if it works, it'll be spectacular. And I've got it on stream. The King of the Red Lion. I'm afraid it's gonna take off. Please don't! Please don't! Please don't! Ah! Please? Can I climb on my own ship, please? Guess what? I'm about to drown.
So you made a ship. It sails.
It works! So when Lady dropped her video on how the extra improvements of the Switch 2 made Animal Crossing New Horizons run smoother, it got us thinking what kind of improvements, if any, would be in Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom. That said, we're not exactly tech geniuses around here. I couldn't tell you how many lovely jubblies the Switch 2 has, and I'm definitely not going to pretend I can. But I can show you how these upgrades actually affect your gameplay, even without buying the upgraded version. So the question I sought to answer was, how are loading times improved by the Switch 2? I think that would be the big thing that changes from system to system. Frame rates may show some improvement, and they probably did, but that's not within the parameters of this particular video. I wanted to know, how long are you going to be sitting looking at a loading screen from the base version on the Switch and then the base version on the Switch 2? So for each game, I ran 5 simple tests. I started up from the Switch home screen, I loaded a save from the main menu, entering a shrine, leaving a shrine to see how it reloads the overworld, and teleporting to the opposite side of the map. I think that should give us at least a pretty good idea of what the Switch 2 brings to the table in both the base and upgraded versions of the game. And just for fun, I also included the $10 upgraded version so you can kind of see for yourself what it looks like. Anyway, let's get started. Alright, so live thoughts here as I'm watching through this. We're in the Switch home screen, and we're going to go to the main menu of the game. And I'll try each time to kind of calm down on how excited I am for the upgrade, because it really is impressive. If you notice, I mean, 9 seconds isn't too bad, and we're still loading on the Switch 1. 15 seconds as a total. It's almost exactly 6 seconds faster. Very, very impressive. And now we'll move on to the actual loading. Alright, as I mentioned before, this is going from main menu and loading into Hyrule through a save, so it's going to have to render the entire map. That's going to take a long time. Probably one of the longer loading screens that you have in the game other than teleporting. And the Switch 2 upgrade does it in just over 10 seconds. Switch 2 base game goes into it goes into the black screen, but it takes a while to come out of that black screen. Same for the Switch 1, but all things considered, there's still a 3-second gap there. I'm very impressed with what the hardware actually does to kind of carve some of that time off. All right, now we're going to enter the shrine. We're going to go down and basically... Wow, okay. I don't even have a lot of time to react on this one. That's all very, very quick. 9 seconds, which if you think about it, though, that is just a second less than what it took to load into the game with the Switch 2 upgrade. Sorry, I had to do it at least once. Alright, so I know that last one was really, really quick, and this next one will be probably very quick as well. It shouldn't take too long for this to load back. But, like, realistically, I knew that the shrine entering and leaving would be pretty quick. It is interesting to see that the Switch 1 does take less time to even go back into the overworld than it did to load the shrine. I find that interesting. Not entirely certain how that works out, but still impressive. Looking at the results from everything, it's probably where you expect it to be, but it's still not one that takes a long time. This is the one that I expect to take the most time. Teleporting across the map is always a slow process in any game, but this is, I mean, obviously Switch 1 was kind of underpowered anyway, so watching as the Switch 2 does it in just under 8 seconds, I mean, I'm a little impressed. These are located in different spots. I'm not going to pretend they aren't, but at the same time, it's still very interesting to look at those results. I was very impressed. I genuinely was. Okay, so I'm looking over my notes as I've been kind of making this, obviously. And obviously, we can see that the Switch 2 is making a difference. And quite frankly, now it's just a degree of how much. And we're going to go into Tears of the Kingdom as well. I'm going to showcase that for you. But I'm just going to go over real quick, just a quick recap. Looking at the menu, the Switch 2 cut around 6 seconds off of the loading time from the Switch home menu. Then the Switch 2 also, and this is without the upgrade. I want to put emphasis on that. This is without the upgrade. The Switch 2 cut 3 seconds from loading a save from the main menu. Then it cut another 2 seconds from loading times when entering a shrine, and then carved off another second when leaving a shrine. Which, again, this could actually change based on how long you spend in the shrine, because of the way that different things are cached. But I'm just showing you the general metrics and just kind of give you an idea. That's all this is. I'm not some tech wonk. I've already made that clear. This is what it is. Hopefully you still get something from it that you enjoy. And then the teleporting, it wasn't nearly as dramatic as I thought it would be, honestly. But, I mean, cutting off 1.5 seconds of loading screen time when you're teleporting to the other side of the map, I'm still impressed by. And then, obviously, I'll give you a little bit of the stats for the upgrade later on in a different recap. I can just basically kind of showcase it for you. But it's cut basically everything in half so far. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this works out in Tears of the Kingdom. Once again, we're going to start with going from the Switch home screen and going into the main menu. And I expect this one to be very quick, once again, from the upgrade. But I am curious to see the difference here. Okay, 11 seconds for the Switch 2 with just the base, which is very impressive given how quickly the Switch 2 upgrade is done. That is a very big difference of about 8 seconds. I mean, how many times do you boot up the game? Once. But it's still interesting to see the difference, and you can expect other differences as well. Now on to something you might do in multiple times in a single play session rather than just once, is loading a save. Now this one's loading a save from the menu, which, I mean, we expect to take a good long time. I mean, relatively, obviously. 7 seconds isn't that long, and 9 seconds isn't that long. But I think it was 21 seconds for Breath of the Wild, and right now we're looking at 17 seconds for the Switch. For the base game on the Switch, obviously. But still, didn't expect Tears of the Kingdom, as big as it is compared to Breath of the Wild, to actually be faster, but I'm impressed with what Nintendo was able to do. Okay, so this next one actually shocked me a little bit. Now, the timers are all set to do the same thing. They start when the screen fades to black, and then as the animation starts on the other end, it stops. And if you notice, Switch 1 comes in faster, but also Switch 1 fades to black before that animation is finished, and the Switch 2 base version doesn't. I have no idea why it would do that, but I found it very interesting that it did. So if you think you know why that would be the case, put that in the comments. I'm really curious. Alright, now let's leave the shrine and see what difference is made here. I'm blown away by the Switch 2 upgrade. Obviously, I'm not trying to go too crazy with it every time, but it really has been impressive to see the different loading times. I mean, again, the frame rates are impressive, but just look at that. Double the speed of what we got at launch with the Switch 1. It's massively impressive. Okay, so here's another one that really kind of blew me away, but not for the reason you'd expect. The Switch 2 upgraded version loads so quickly you don't even get to see the animation of landing. And quite frankly, I didn't even notice until just now, the Switch 2 with just the base game and no upgrade was just, well, almost just as fast. Like half a second, maybe a little bit more slower than the Switch upgrade in that teleport. It's so quick on the Switch 2 that you don't even get to see the little landing animation that I've always liked with the teleporting in Tears of the Kingdom. So very, very impressive how the hardware has actually worked to improve that aspect of Tears of the Kingdom. So what can we take from all of this other than the fact that the upgrade is awesome? Those increased loading times, the beautiful increased frame rate that you're looking at right now, just look at it. It's gorgeous. It's fantastic. This is not the same footage that you saw at the beginning of the video. That was shot on Switch 1. This is on Switch 2 with the upgraded edition of the game. I just wanted to be able to compare and contrast. I thought it would be helpful. Also, look how pretty. It's wonderful. Now, let's get to the basics of this video. Does the Switch 2, just base hardware, improve the games that you're going to play on it? Absolutely. The loading times were reduced. And to me, loading times are really the big issue that I had with, or the biggest, not even a big issue. I look at Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom and I say that they're masterpieces. So the only downside that I saw was the loading times. And now that's eliminated. I do recommend the upgraded edition. I don't deny it. That is a very good purchase. I don't regret for a second. And I'm looking at my Switch right now on my desk saying, why haven't I been playing you? And I'll tell you why. Because I have been recording this outro for the last 45 minutes. Because I keep flubbing. And it's awful. Anyway, I'm tired. I need to finish this edit so I can upload the video. I've been at this for an ungodly amount of time. Thank you so much for watching. We very much appreciate your support, and we are blown away by how much of that uptick in traffic that we've had, all the subscribers, all the people who have commented and checked out our video. We very much appreciate all of you. We are looking to be able to add memberships very, very soon. We're currently working on some benefits and everything, so if you got ideas for that, leave that in the comments below. Also, share your favorite moment from Tears of the Kingdom or Breath of the Wild. Your thoughts on the current state of the game and the improvements that you saw. I'm really curious to hear what you thought. But anyway, I'm out of here. I'm tired. It's hot in my office. I've been at this for God knows how long. Thanks so much for watching. We very much appreciate it. I'll see you next time.